Welcome to Policy and Profit, the podcast for ambitious insurance agents and agency owners who want to build predictable, profitable businesses without chasing bad leads or begging for referrals. And here's a funny statistic. Did you know that the average insurance agent makes less than $52,000 a year in income? And over 90% give up in their first year. The top 1% doing anything remarkable with their license are making 5 to 10 times as much selling the exact same policies, earning anywhere between 150,000 and $500,000 in income. And it's not luck, my friend, it's leverage. The secret is they're following a system to generate fresh hot leads, book appointments, and close policies like clockwork. I've put together a no-cost blueprint for that system that shows you how to add $5 to $15,000 in additional monthly income in under 90 days. You can access for free. Just go to writemorepolicies.com/blueprint or click the link in the description. Today's guest is Hunter Palmer. He started off in final expense and transitioned into the trucking industry during COVID and is going to be joining us today. So, Hunter, welcome to the show. Tell me something you believe is the key to succeeding in insurance sales that most agents completely overlook.
People completely overlook. Man, it's I don't know. I think a lot of it is a dream. A lot of people get hung up on a dream and think they can just get into this and just plug into the process and they're going to make tons of money. In all reality, I have worked harder in the insurance industry than I worked maybe not in the oil field. I put in a lot of hours when I was working in the oil field, but it's close, man. Like the grind is real. And I don't think that's expressed enough in the beginning. I don't think people are told how much work is going to be involved. And not only do you have to, learn how to do sales, you have to learn how to market yourself. You have to, there's a lot of AI stuff, there's a lot of tech stuff. Like you have to be more than just an agent. You have to wear about 5 or 6 hats.
Talk more about that, because marketing is something that, sure, I guess it's discussed and people uh, funnel this and send them a link from an automatic text responder and autoresponder and all this. And it's just no one takes the time to read things like Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, one of the greatest marketing books out there about not creating or destroying desire, but directing it. So talk more about how you've managed to wear all the hats, because obviously in the oil field, which I've done, it's not fun. It's hard on your body. This is like hard on the mind. It's hard on the heart a lot of the times when all your relationships are like, that's not my brother anymore. He's an insurance agent. We don't associate with that. I've had that happen. So talk more about the wearing of multiple hats, because you're a business owner and you're putting out fire after fire after fire, Hunter, which I know you're aware of.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a business owner, you have to be a sales agent, you have to be a trainer. One part that most people skip is being a student. You have to be a trainer and a student at the same time because you have to constantly be feeding yourself and feeding your mind because if you're growing a team, you need content to give to them. You need valuable content that they can consume to make them better at sales, better mindset. So if you stop learning, you're going to stop teaching. Your well is going to run dry. I'm actually reading a book right now that I was told to read by a friend of mine called Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. And
Yep.
that's kind of where it's going. Like to run a business, especially in the insurance industry, and I think any business in general, you really need to focus on marketing. Whether it be, I just got off the phone the other day with a guy that possibly do some billboards because we specialize in the trucking industry, and my audience is on the highway. So we're gonna give that a go, put 2 billboards out here in Texas, see if we can get some traffic from it. So any way that I can learn how to do marketing, anything that's new, marketing is always changing. They're always making marketing harder, especially Facebook. Man, it's like they hate insurance agents for some reason. So just staying on top of the changes and finding loopholes to keep yourself in the business and in that audience. It makes it hard sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in Russell's programs for the last couple of years, and the expert secret stuff is really funny when you start building I'm not sure if you've already finished the book or not, but the whole attractive character, the future-based cause, and the new opportunity, and that triangle of the three. It's like every mass movement, every religion, they all have the Jesus, their book, and the future-based promise. So it's really cool to hear other agents reading that. But something I'll share it once again is like it seems all of this is just derived from Eugene Schwartz, like breakthrough advertising, Robert Collier's letter book, Claude Hopkins, like the originals, the greats, Dan Kennedy. And so it's cool to see that you're going down that rabbit hole because no one in insurance talks about that stuff. It's follow my sales script. It's like what a loser. So it's funny that you mentioned that, dude. Congrats on diving into Russell's world. It's fun over here, but it's also, man, it's you like, I don't know anything about anything. It throws you through a loop. And I know this kind of goes into what you're passionate about, building your movement. It's like, talk to us about this whole idea of niching into the trucking industry.
Yeah, it was really hard, man. And having an oil field background, I mean, that's where I picked up my CDL is when I was in the oil field.
Yeah.
So I started driving trucks in the oil field, and when I got out of the oil field, I purchased my own truck, worked for a couple of other companies, and so I just knew, with all the companies that I worked for, benefits are expensive, especially if you work for a small company. And then if you're an owner operator, you own your own truck. Essentially, that's just like being an insurance agent. Like you're on your own now. So the overhead is high. There's no benefits. There's nobody to help you with anything. A lot of it you got to figure out on yourself, and that's what we've done with the trucking. And I just knew, like, I just final expense wasn't my thing. I just the audience. I don't know. And I hate to say this, man, but I didn't have a lot in common with that audience, and it was hard to really relate to the senior market for me. But I had the idea to start marketing to truck drivers, and I thought, all the products that we have access to, we could build a package for truck drivers and help them out, and not have to charge them $1,000 a month for a benefits package. Typically we're putting something together for somebody for 150, $200. So once we got into that, that was in the prime of COVID. Like I got tired of going to people's houses and wearing masks and carrying lawn chairs and doing all the weird crap.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I was like, I've got to, we got to do something. This is stupid. And so we started trying to do telesales first with final expense. We sucked at it. I went back to the field, and then in the meantime, we were working on a funnel for the trucking as a VSL funnel that crashed and burned. And we
You
were
ever want me to fix it, just holler at me. I'm fantastic with these things.
But yeah, that's where it started, just like we were like an R&D team, just research and development, just trying whatever we could to get to that next level and really open up that audience. And, some things, I'm not saying that the VSL wasn't going to work. It's just we couldn't give it what it needed, and it needed a lot of money. And it was, producing some high cost leads. And we simplified everything, man. So now, I mean, we don't run any landing pages or anything like that. I mean, I go to a truck stop, shoot a video, about a minute and a half video, run it to a lead form. It's an autofill lead form, and we throw two or three custom questions on there. Just, that way it's not a 100% autofill, and we get just as good a leads that way as we do, with $100 cost per lead through a funnel.
Yeah, the funnel stuff. No one talks about having the pixel trained with buyer data versus retargeting and all the things that goes into lookalike audiences and UTM parameters. And it takes a while because you have to build something very invasive to track what's called sticky cookies and map their activities across different apps and how they use the phone to meet them on different Google, TikTok. So it's there's a lot that goes into marketing. I'll tell you something that's crushing for me on certain aspects is just simple Google sales pages. Send people to a Google Doc. They'll read it and they'll book a call. And that's absolutely crushing it for me right now. I'm curious if you guys could do something with that. Just that way your truckers could see it better. So what got you into wanting to do the VSL thing? Was it just stepping into Russell's world or what made you want to do that? That was interesting.
I actually met Justin Thomas face to face at a
Okay.
conference, and at the time that's what he was doing. I don't know if that's what he's still doing, and I know he does Medicare now, but yeah, that's what he was doing, VSL. But a lot of it was do it yourself. There was kind of a template built out, like a course, and a lot of it was do it yourself. And at the time, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I feel like what I know now from 6 years ago, I mean, I should have a degree in marketing. And essentially, That's what you're getting into when you get into this business. You essentially need a degree for marketing to do what we do because it's going to take you a long time to figure out the process of marketing and how everything works and CRMs and like you said, pixels and tracking and retargeting and it's a whole other animal, next to sales. Like you can get lost in that. I've had people get lost in the tech side and never sell anything just because they get all geeked out on it.
Yeah, I remember everything changed for me in my insurance career after the second year when I really started to detach pricing from how I sold. Because if you look at what most agents do, they just get people the cheapest policy. And it's like, that's not what's going to put a decent amount of commissions in my pocket. And so you really got to learn to sell to identities. And this is where a lot of sociology comes into play. I'm not sure if you've read Richard Dawkins. He has some books like The Blind Watchmaker, fantastic read for marketing, and The Selfish Gene. He talks how men buy for status, women buy for security. And so in your marketing messages, all marketing is change work. And so you communicate how your product fills a gap in the customer's life in seeing the transformation, who they are when they buy that product, how it feels when they buy that product. And so a lot of you are out there talking about what insurance is for your customers, but not how they're going to feel when they have it. And I promise you, a woman would rather buy a policy based on her feeling like a good mother rather than this policy is going to be $37 a month. It's just that does that even sound enticing, Hunter?
Not at all. Not at all.
So, tell me some of like the big breakthroughs and like transformations you've kind of had with you and your wife doing this in the trucking industry now. Like, what are some of the big transformations you guys have had after you switched from telesales, which didn't go well, and you went all into the trucking?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of it was learning marketing, figuring something out. And once we got something figured out that worked, we just stuck with it. I mean, we've been doing the exact same thing for probably 3.5, 4 years with the truck drivers. It works. So we haven't changed too much on it. We do keep everything up to date, fresh creatives. I make 3 or 4 videos every month, keep the creatives fresh. But other than that, the main difference was income. When you go from marketing to an audience that's on a fixed income. It seemed like everybody in final expense is either on Social Security, they're on disability. So they're pinching for pennies. And we're trying to write, a $30 or $40 a month policy on them. With the truck drivers, it's different. They have a job, they have cash flow. It's nothing to find somebody that can spend 400 or 500 bucks on a benefits package. And like I said, our average is 150 to $200. So when you go from writing the same amount of business at $30 a month premium up to $150 a month premium, that's where it really changed for us. And we're like, man, it was like we sat on this thing like a golden egg for at least a year. I was like, we ain't telling nobody, like we ain't tapping anybody into our business. Like screw everybody. This is our deal. And I think it was Cody Askins, I think, was the one that told me, he's like, man, it doesn't matter what information you tell people, about 1% will actually apply anything that they hear. So that's when I started, slowly letting things out, about what we do. And it created a lot of curiosity and it attracted a lot of people to our agency as well because we were doing something completely different from everybody else. I heard a quote this morning. The guy that does the podcast, the School of Hard Knocks. He goes around interviewing millionaires.
Yeah,
I
I've
can't
seen
remember
those
his name,
videos
but
on Facebook feeds.
yeah, he interviewed somebody this morning, and he said you just got to be different. And he said if you run with the herd, you'll be slaughtered with the herd. And I was like, holy crap, it couldn't be more true.
Yeah, if you look at most people, that's typically how human nature is. You'll see you got a bunch of cows in a pasture, and they'll see the cow go to the place and it has a huge tag on it, Hunter. You know what it says? It says slaughterhouse. And they'll see their best friend Jerry the cow go into the slaughterhouse and never come back. And what do? They go right back to eating grass until it's their turn. And that's most people's lives, unfortunately. So how lucky are we to be in an industry where we can change that and don't we can make enough money to put on our human skin and go somewhere else where we're not walking straight into the damn slaughterhouse because it's just not fun. And well,
There's plenty of opportunity, man. You just got to be unique about it.
well, that's the thing is it's Brian Tracy, he come up with this term. He called it a inverse paranoid. Hunter, have you ever met someone they think the whole world's out to get them?
Yeah.
Well, an inverse paranoid thinks the whole world's out to help them. And it's so funny. I heard someone complaining about a bag of chips not too long ago. It's like, this bag of chips, $5, Mason. And I'm like, how selfish of you to complain about a $5 bag of chips. Did you have to buy the factory that cost tens of millions of dollars to store the chips? No. Did you have to pay all the workers who, like all the millions of people who had to come together and trade their time for money for you to sit and complain about a $5 bag of chips? And so when you start looking for problems, you'll find them. When you start looking for opportunity, you'll notice they're everywhere. And so I'm really glad you
Absolutely.
said that. That's funny. Hunter, we got to be inverse paranoids in today's world. And another thing, I'm just curious, what has what has this done for you and your wife's relationship, kind of really going into all of this together? Like, what's the best thing that's happened for you guys?
Yeah, I actually shared a story on my Facebook yesterday of about 10 years ago. You know, I have some crazy stories. You if you sat and listened to me, you'd be like, this guy, how he's still alive. But in the same year, our house burned down to the ground. We buried one of our kids. He died at birth. And so for me, I didn't grieve properly, and I just took to drinking pretty heavily. I was working out of town in the oil field, and I was like a stranger in my own home because I was gone, you know, for 3 or 4 weeks before I came home for my week off. So uh, things started getting really rocky back then, man, and I had to make a change or I was going to lose it all. So I quit working out there, and then a couple years after that is when I found the insurance industry. So going from the husband and the dad that was never home, like ever, and then when I was home, I just wanted to drink. So I would go to the golf course and hang out with my buddies, and I would not even come home till midnight every night. Like I was just a piece of crap. And once we started working together, man, like me and my wife have done this together. She's an excellent closer. Um, we So how we've taken this to a whole nother level is because we work so well together. So we've written up to about 34,000 in a week before. And what we've done is we bumped our ad spend up to about 300 bucks a day. And what we were doing is I was doing the presentations, and as soon as I would get a yes, this is something I'm interested in, be like, perfect. I'm actually going to shoot you over to the application department. My wife works back there. I would just transfer the call to my wife. She would do the app, and then I would turn right around and I would get the next appointment on the phone. We were running about 30, 35 appointments a day. So it was just call after call after call. And one day we had transferred 5 of those back to back, like 5 in a row were like yes, yes, yes. I was like, this is amazing. Like when the activity is high, man, magic happens. And when you don't have enough people to talk to, magic is never gonna happen. You'll get a good one every now and then, but to do something that's just absolutely diabolical, I mean, you have to have the activity at a high level.
Hunter, this has been really valuable for the agents and agency owners listening who want to learn more about what you do. Tell us who's a good fit to work with you and how they can get in touch.
Man, if you have um experience in the trucking industry, that helps a lot. But I have agents on our team that no experience at all. They do have sales experience that just crush it. So I've learned in the last 6 years, there's no way to tell, you know, who's going to be a good fit. The ones that work the best are honestly the ones that have money. You know, if you got money to pay to play, that helps tremendously because if you're trying to get into this completely broke, that's a hard way to start. So that's what we look for. You know, we say, hey, how much marketing money do you have? How much can you spend without it hurting you? So, what was your next question?
How can they get in touch with you if they want to come learn more about what you do or work with
Uh,
you?
yeah. Facebook, Messenger. I spend a lot of my time on Facebook with content, stuff like that. Facebook Messenger, it's just Hunter Palmer, um, the Hunter Palmer on Instagram. That's the quickest way to get a hold of me. If you want to call my office, I'll throw my number out there. It's 940-539-9497, and just ask for me.
Fantastic. We're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much, Hunter, for sharing your insights on kind of niching down into the truck industry. And having high activity, making shit happen. So for those of you interested in learning more about what Hunter's doing, you want the opportunity to work for him. It sounds like he has a unicorn. Reach out to him. I'll post his Facebook Messenger down below in the description. You can go send him a message, tell him Mason sent you. And if you'd like to be a guest on Policy and Profit, we're always looking for successful insurance agents and agency owners who are doing at least 10K a month in commissions and have unique strategies to share. You can apply at the link down below in the description or the pinned comments. And one more time, if you want to stop chasing leads and start booking qualified appointments with people who actually want to buy insurance, grab our free booked and banked blueprint at writemorepolicies.com/blueprint. Until next time, keep building that commission machine, my friend. Hunter, you crushed it, buddy. Congrats.